Welcome to your weekly astrology forecast. My name is Adina. I'm an intuitive astrologer, and in these weekly forecasts, I go over the astrological energies for the week ahead. And this week, we will be going over the energy for February 19th to the 25th of 2024. So I first just want to touch on some of the energies from last week because we had all of our major activations of Pluto in Aquarius, having Mars enter Aquarius on February, forming a conjunction to Pluto, and then on February 16th, we had Venus enter Aquarius and form a conjunction to Pluto. So the Aquarius areas of our life are really being activated at this time. Collectively, Aquarius rules the people, humanity, society, and so, not even just the activations of last week, but then this week we have the Venus-Mars conjunction in Aquarius. So I think we're about to see a lot of freedom fighters arise, or people coming together for a common cause. Now, in our own individual lives, having Mars form a conjunction to Pluto may have had you wanting to take action on something very deep, very powerful, and even some type of, and then even having, Pluto can be very psychological. And I feel like the Mars-Pluto conjunction can be quite volatile. Mars ruling anger, aggression, and conflict. So it may have brought up a lot of intensity or intense energies that you are having to move through and navigate. On the 16th, having Venus enter Aquarius and form a conjunction to Pluto, there may have been something deeply transforming around relationships or around your self-love, your self-worth, even around what you once needed and wanted and desired within relationships. Kind of having that realization of how you've changed, or finally releasing something and letting that part of you go in order to move forward. Because, and as I say this, one of the things that kind of comes to my mind is, coinciding with all of this energy, we have that Chiron North Node conjunction, which is really bringing up, old parts of ourselves, or old hurt, old trauma that has been holding us back in some way. And this Chiron North Node conjunction in Aries is not only having us discover this and connect and heal and move through all of these emotions and energy so that we can finally release and let go. Having that Venus conjunction and Pluto at the same time is also activating that and activating something within on how you connect within relationships, what you require from other people, but then also what you're willing to give others, or what you want to give, how you love, which is truly based on how you love yourself. So we're in this time of healing and really transition and transformation with all this Pluto energy. And we're going to be in that Chiron North Node conjunction. It's a 2-week transit. So we were there all last week, and we will continue that energy this week. And so, keep that in mind when emotions are coming up, or old trauma, old hurt, or something that you moved through in the past, revisiting in some way. You're revisiting that old hurt in some way, or whatever makes you feel vulnerable. There is this amazing healing taking place and transformation, and I really feel it's almost like a releasing and letting go of a certain aspect of yourself that you're done with, and you no longer need that to travel forward. We want to remember that the nodes are very fated, very karmic, and the North Node represents something new. It's a new direction. It's a direction that we're moving into and moving towards. And so there's this, it's almost like the universe is bringing up what no longer serves you and possibly has held you back from really going after and moving forward into that direction, into that journey. And I hope that makes sense. But it's just so interesting that we have all of these energies coinciding together with, and that's what makes me feel like whatever is surfacing, it's almost like These are aspects of yourself based on old hurt, old trauma that has possibly prevented you from moving forward within relationships or moving forward on your self-love, self-discovery journey. There's a lot that can be surfacing, and it's going to show up for all of us differently. But keep that in mind and have that awareness so that you can, pay attention to what is surfacing for you emotionally, intuitively, spiritually. And there was another one I was going to say. What was I going to say? Emotionally, intuitively, and energetically, right? How you're feeling energy wise. Even I feel like authenticity, like connecting with people authentically, where maybe before you felt like you could not be authentically you, and now there is some type of transformation taking place where you're comfortable with being who you are, whether it's just generally on day-to-day basis or whether it is within relationships. But having that feeling and knowing that you can be authentically you, I think some of us are really going through that, and that just came to me intuitively. So again, always take what resonates, leave the rest behind. But I have to trust kind of what I'm feeling intuitively. But just with all these coinciding energies, I do know that there's so many of you that are going through, relationship stuff and self-love and self-worth and self-confidence. And we're all on our own healing journey in some way. And it's all coming to the forefront now. And then next week, when I come back, we will be discussing the dynamic Mercury Cazimi to Saturn, which is more karmic realizations. Now, we also have newly now the sun in Pisces, which the sun entered Pisces on the 18th. So the day before, the day that I'm going to post this, the sun enters Pisces. So we begin Pisces season. So happy birthday to all my Piscean friends out there. But we want to keep in mind that this Pisces season is going to feel a little different because we now have Saturn in Pisces. Saturn is that planet of responsibility, maturity, and also can bring challenge, hardship, and restriction and delays. Saturn rules time, and so whatever it is you're trying to move through, get going, and implement in this area of life, it's going to take time. It's going to take that hard work and dedication. Now, having the sun in Pisces with Saturn can really be shining a light on some conscious developments where you're becoming more consciously aware of how these energies are showing up for you, what Saturn is bringing to the table in this area of life. So pay attention. Again, I always say pay attention to what is showing up for you, but you really do want to have that awareness, the self-awareness, so you can pay attention emotionally, psychologically, mentally, right? We want to be paying attention to our thoughts and how we're feeling and our energy. And then next week, we're going to have some really powerful insights. But I feel like having the sun now in Pisces, moving closer to Saturn, and then by the end of the week on the 23rd, we have Mercury entering Pisces. So we will start to feel almost like a build up to what's coming next week. So I will touch on those energies next week when I get into the Mercury Cazimi with Saturn. But let's get into the weekly energies. So on the 20th, the 21st, pretty much all week, the 20th, the 21st, I think all the way to like the 23rd or the 24th, the 20th to like the 23rd or 24th, we're moving through that Venus-Mars conjunction. And this is the cosmic lovers coming together. This is an Aquarius, the sign of innovation, rebellion. This is wanting to break free from the everyday life, the everyday kind of ritual routine. This is where I really think that we will see, protests and people standing up together. This can even be when we see groups forming, coming together for a cause of some kind. We can start, and we've already seen that with, Pluto and Aquarius. We're starting to see over the last couple of years, more people rising in a sense. We're seeing a lot of protests. We have the truckers, we have the farmers. There's people protesting all across the world in different countries. And I think we will really start to see that amp up. Now, in our own individual lives, this can really have to do with passionate one-on-one connections, because it's Mars and it's Venus. And this is relationships. This is love. This is wanting to take action with a relationship, maybe moving forward with a significant other, that next level or that next step, taking a big step towards a common goal almost. This is really wanting to, form passionate, solid connections. And in Aquarius, it could be very, I feel like it could be a little bit unexpected, because we want to remember that Aquarius is ruled by Saturn and Uranus. So it's really interesting. This Venus-Mars conjunction is being disposited by Saturn and Pisces, and also Uranus and Taurus. So it's almost like the Uranus and Taurus, the Uranian element of it being in Taurus, which can have to do with common values or connecting in a very common grounded way, if that makes sense. And then having Saturn in Pisces, where it's this committed spiritual partnership. And even as I'm saying that, I feel like there's a lot of karmic connections coming together. There is a lot of karmic energy around relationships. And if I'm jumping all over the place, it's because my intuition's going crazy and I'm just getting tons of downloads and I'm trying to get them all out because I have to trust what I'm feeling. But I do feel like there's a lot of karma around relationships right now, whether it is coming together in a passionate way or whether it is breaking free from a relationship that's been holding you back. But I do feel like there's so much karmic energy right now around relationships and we're going to get more. We're going to get more messages and insight to this next week with that Saturn Mercury Sun conjunction, I feel like, as well. But there's definitely a lot of karmic energy right now with partnerships. And I think that Venus conjunction of Pluto is going to, it almost stirred it, and that's the crazy thing, is that just before Venus and Mars come together in Aquarius, they both connected to Pluto in Aquarius, where they had this deeply psychological, powerful transformation. And then they come together and unite. So I find that so fascinating. And I think this is, I think that we'll see this collectively, but I also feel like this can be in our own individual lives, where we've all gone through some type of renewal, because Pluto can be a form of renewal and regeneration. I'm looking for a different word, but I can't think of it at the moment. I think you know what I mean. But and then coming together, it's almost like coming together in a very powerful way to move towards a common cause or a common goal. So I don't know. I feel like I'm repeating myself at this point, but I feel like the message is just coming in so strong. But this can be very beautiful for relationships, for those one-on-one connections, and paying attention again to what is showing up intuitively, emotionally, and spiritually because of Saturn being the dispositor of this Venus-Mars conjunction. That is what is going to guide you through this energy. So if throughout the week you have any questions or you're not knowing what to do with this energy, if you're not understanding what is showing up for you, leaning on that Saturn and Pisces energy and trusting your intuition and your emotions, I think can help you navigate and get through whatever is bubbling up to the surface for you. Now, on February 23rd, which is Friday, we're going to have Mercury enter Pisces. And the day after, on February 24th, we're going to have the full moon in Virgo, which is being disposited by Mercury, which is now going to be in Pisces. So I will be posting a separate video on that full moon in Virgo, going into all 12 rising signs and also going through the chart for the full moon. But keep in mind, Mercury in Pisces can be an interesting energy. This is great for creativity, imagination, ideas. Where it becomes a little challenging is, and especially when we're talking about the full moon in Virgo, which is very detail oriented, having the dispositor in Pisces can make it very difficult to pay attention to the details, to pay attention or make a decision on one specific thing. Now, this can be great for open-mindedness or open thinking in a sense, welcoming in new ideas, and thinking almost in like a broader way. It can be great for intuition. Mercury in Pisces is great for using your intuition and connecting. We can be getting a lot of intuitive downloads. And then just a few days after the full moon in Virgo, we have the Mercury Cazimi. So I'll get into that energy in next week's forecast. I might even post a separate video talking about that. But that's where, and I want you to pay attention too, because on Friday, when Mercury enters Pisces, this is where there can start to be this build up to the amazing insight that we're going to get next week. And this is almost very karmic, because not only is it in Pisces, which is a very karmic energy, Saturn is there, and Saturn represents karma, is karma. So it's almost like there is an amazing message we're all getting next week in our own individual lives and collectively that is karmic endings. It's almost like a completion of a karmic cycle, and the insight that you're receiving or the information or the message you're receiving on this is like shutting the door to something. So I will, again, I'll talk about this more because I really want to like kind of get into the energy intuitively and see what I kind of come up with. But I want you to pay attention over the weekend. Once Mercury enters Pisces, we will start to feel that build up, and then we will have the conjunction at 9 degrees of Pisces, which will happen 27th, 28th, and I think is 29th, but I think it's most powerful the 27th and the 28th, which is Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. So over the weekend, next weekend, there may be this buildup. Pay attention to your thoughts, your intuition, the messages you're receiving, also the information that you're receiving, the conversations that you're having, because there can be this buildup that we will get answers to next week. Now, also on Saturday, the 24th, not only do we have the full moon in Virgo, but we're going to have Venus forming a square to Jupiter. So Venus in Aquarius forming a square to Jupiter in Taurus. And we want to keep in mind too that with the Venus and even the Venus and Mars energy, and with the conjunction we're moving through this week, Mars is the dispositor of the North Node. Venus is the dispositor of the South Node, which is making this connection between Venus and Mars, but just the Venus energy in general and the Mars energy just a lot more karmic. And that's why I was really feeling very powerful, this powerful kind of energy around karmic connections and a releasing of karmic connections and karmic connections coming together, because Venus and Mars is literally ruling the nodes right now. And so having Mars as the dispositor of the North Node is having you want to take action towards that newness, that something new, that new journey, that new direction. Now, when Venus forms a square to Jupiter on Saturday on the 24th, this is where there can be tension or something can be building up or coming to a head that you're having to release and let go of. And this can have to do with relationships, the South Node being in Libra, which is the general significator of, or Libra rules relationships generally. And when Venus forms a square to Jupiter, there can be an overwhelmingness around, or there can even be too, because Jupiter can bring in insight and wisdom. And so there could even be something coming in for you where now there's more clarity. Like, it is a square, so it can bring a stop or a hold or tension to something. But it's almost like Jupiter's bringing in insight and clarity, but the decision that needs to be made may be what is difficult about the square, if you know what I mean. So the insight and the wisdom that Jupiter is bringing in for Venus to decide. And remember, this is a Venus in Aquarius. So Venus in Aquarius is very much wanting to do things differently, wanting to break free, wanting to try new things. There very much can be this deep desire and need for change at this time. Now, on February 26th, the next week, on Monday, we're going to have Mars square Jupiter. So, where we have just had Mars and Venus conjunct Pluto in Aquarius, then we had the Mars Venus conjunction in Aquarius, which is going to be this week. Then, at the end of the week and into next week, we have Venus squaring Jupiter and Mars squaring Jupiter. So there is a lot going on with Venus and Mars in Aquarius, and wanting to break free, wanting to try something new, joining forces, coming together for a common cause. And so collectively, again, I'll say it again because I just think it's so powerful right now, of people coming together, protesting, whatever the case is. This is really people coming together, people joining forces. Aquarius rules the collective, humanity, society. So I really do think we're going to see a lot of that throughout, across the globe. And then in our own individual lives, I think this is where we can be really making some changes within our own personal partnerships, with what we need, want, and desire within our partnerships. There can be a lot of releasing and letting go of partnerships that are no longer in alignment. There can also be a leveling up, taking those next steps within partnerships that have already been developing, those close personal karmic connections that have already come together. And this can also be a period of time where you meet someone new that is in alignment with you, that is on the same page, the same path. And really after, and I even got to just intuitively, just in your own healing journey, it's almost like too, the healing that has taken place within, and having that awareness to be able to release and let go of aspects of yourself that have been holding you back in some way. It's almost like once you release the heavy load, once you release the burden, your person comes in. So I hope that makes sense. But we're in one of the biggest months of 2024. February is a busy month. We've had, Pluto now in Aquarius. We've had all those conjunctions to Pluto in Aquarius, and the Venus-Mars conjunction. And the next week too, even the Mercury cazimi with Saturn. And that's going to be another really big energy. So I really hope that this helps you navigate the energies for the week ahead. Pay attention throughout this week. What is showing up for you when it has to do with your personal needs, wants, and desires, and how have those changed for you? There may have been a huge realization with the Venus conjunction to Pluto. And I would love to hear your comments below how this energy has been showing up for all of you. But thank you for listening and connecting with me once again. I love connecting with all of you. I will be posting a full moon forecast going into the energies in the chart for the full moon that we are having in Virgo. And I will connect with you all in the next one.